What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 23:03 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we are on the verge of Iran launching a massive strike on Israel. Today, we've had over 60 emergency action messages, which is the most amount of emergency action messages in a 24-hour period since Prigozhin was going to march to Moscow. There were about 70 emergency action messages. Now, an emergency action message is a nuclear attack option broadcasted by the Pentagon to U.S. nuclear forces, specifically our nuclear armed submarines. So this is very, very serious, guys. And the Iranian defense minister announced earlier today that at midnight UTC time, they're going to be closing all flights over Tehran. They're going to be closing the skies over Tehran to all domestic and international flights. Okay, that's the Iranian defense minister saying that they're going to close the skies over Tehran to domestic and international flights at exactly midnight UTC time, okay, or local Iranian time. So that is very, very serious. We also had a bunch of new NOTAMs posted for Tehran. And earlier today, there was a NOTAM posted for the Tehran flight information region saying that all visual flying is temporarily suspended over Tehran. Visual flying just means that you're flying by sight and you're not using avionics. That was posted this morning. And when you fly by sight, you don't have to turn your transponder on, but when you're flying with avionics, you have to turn your transponder on. So this allows Iran to track all flights that are going over Tehran by forcing people who are flying over Tehran to turn on their transponder. And the reason why they would do that is so air defense can track different flights and so they don't accidentally hit Iranian or civilian plane that's flying over Tehran with air defenses, because if they turn their transponder on, the air defense operators will see the transponder and they'll see that that's a civilian plane and it's not a military target. So this is huge news, guys. Absolutely huge. Okay, Iran is forcing people to turn their transponders on when flying over Tehran. And also the defense minister of Iran closing the skies over Tehran to all domestic and international flights. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken had a phone call with the Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant this evening, and Blinken made it clear to Yoav Gallant that the U.S. will stand with Israel against any threats by Iran and its proxies. This was reported by Reuters. Okay, so the U.S. will stand with Israel against Iran. I want to remind you guys that back in November, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a resolution stating that the U.S. will not allow Iran to acquire nuclear weapons, and they will use any means necessary to stop Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons. And we know that Israel has been doing drills over the last few days with their F-35s on bombing Iranian nuclear facilities. Okay, so this is about to go down. Over 60 emergency action messages today, guys. That is insane. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a massive 30% discount on their 1-week emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link in the description below this video, which is preparewithnyprepper.com. The normal price for their 1 week freeze-dried emergency food supply is $80. They're knocking it down to $50 for 1 week of emergency food with a 25-year shelf life, and it's all packed into a small lockable ammo can with a waterproof gasket. They also have a general store, and to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And their general store has everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always doing discounts. So check it out. Use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get over 35% off of the My Patriot Supply 1 week emergency food supply, and also to get access to their general store. And they're always doing discounts there. I'll leave the link in the description below this video. And all these NOTAMs being posted. We also had the NOTAM for the rocket launches that are going to be taking place. And that NOTAM started today, and it's going to go all the way through Friday. Okay, so I think it's going to go down any hour now. I'm going to monitor the situation very closely, and as soon as something happens, I will go live. And an unnamed U.S. official told Al Jazeera, "We do not rule out launching joint retaliatory strikes with Israel if it is attacked by Iran or its agents." Wow. So the U.S. is not ruling out launching joint retaliatory strikes with Israel if it's attacked by Iran or Iranian proxies. That is huge, guys. Absolutely huge. And Iran has told the White House that if the U.S. defends Israel against its forthcoming retaliation for the Damascus strike, it will consider the U.S. a viable target as well. And there's been widespread reports indicating that the Iranian Revolutionary Guards have put all missile and radar units at the Hatem al-Anbiya base on full alert. Okay, so the IRGC putting their missiles on full alert. There were some new NOTAMs posted for the Tehran area this evening. There's a bunch of rerouting going on. New temporary bidirectional eastbound route. Airway defined as a tactical route. All these redirection NOTAMs redirecting traffic, stating that the airway is defined as a tactical route. I mean, just multiple NOTAMs rerouting air traffic out of Tehran. So something is about to go down, guys. Dozens of emergency action messages. And this is the area where Iran is expected to launch their missiles out of, just east of Tehran. And you can see these coordinates here. These are the coordinates that were provided by the NOTAM 2 days ago. And apparently this is where rocket launches are going to be taking place. Want to just show you guys some of the flights over the U.S. right now. We currently have 3 nuclear war command and control planes in the air, one off of California, one in the Gulf of Mexico, and one off of New Jersey. Look at this, guys. This thing has been looping here all evening, and that means it's dropping its trailing wire antenna and communicating with our submerged nuclear-armed submarines. Here was the other one off the coast of Texas, and here we have another one currently flying off the coast of California. So U.S. nuclear forces are on high alert. We also have a combat Sentinel plane that just took off from Stratcom, and it's heading towards California right now. Very interesting. These planes are high priority reconnaissance planes. There's only 2 of them in the U.S. Air Force. So if one of them is up in the air, that means something serious is about to go down or is going down. They provide intelligence directly to the president and the Joint Chiefs. We have the leader of Iran, the Ayatollah Khamenei, posting some very serious statements to Twitter. Earlier today, he posted, "When the Israeli regime attacks an Iranian consulate in Syria, it is as if it has attacked Iranian soil. That malicious regime has made a wrong move. It should be punished, and it will be punished." Wow. Okay, this is the Ayatollah Khamenei. This is the supreme leader of Iran saying Israel will be punished. Okay, and that the strike on the Iranian consulate in Syria is the equivalent to striking Iranian soil. And foreign embassies and consulates in Israel are reported to be in the process of preparing for an Iranian retaliatory attack against Israel, with Israeli authorities telling diplomatic staff to obtain a stock of emergency supplies, including generators and satellite phones. The U.S. Embassy in the city of Jerusalem, as well as several others, are establishing a number of contingency plans that would allow diplomatic staff to be evacuated in the case of a major conflict. So, very serious, guys. Multiple embassies and consulates in Israel are preparing for this attack. And the Iranian foreign minister received phone calls tonight from the foreign ministers of Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE to discuss de escalation. They were basically asking the Iranian foreign minister to tell not to launch this strike on Israel. And the German airline Lufthansa on Wednesday suspended flights to Tehran due to the situation in the Middle East, which is on alert for a possible Iranian retaliation. An Iranian news agency briefly stoked tensions further when it published an Arabic report on social media platform Twitter saying all airspace over Tehran had been closed for military drills. The agency then removed the report and denied it had issued such news. Wow. And the Jerusalem Post is reporting that the US, France, and British diplomatic officials have evacuated Israel tonight. Wow. And Iran's nuclear activity at the underground Fordow fuel enrichment plant has greatly increased, according to the IAEA. So, one of Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities has been working overtime, and they've been enriching uranium like crazy, according to the UN nuclear watchdog. And the U.S. has reaffirmed its determination to protect Japan, including with the use of nuclear weapons. U.S. President Joe Biden and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said in a joint statement. And here we have a picture that was shared by an Iranian news outlet showing the type of drones that Iran could use against Israel. And here we have the same Iranian news outlet putting out this propaganda picture showing missiles flying towards the Haifa airport in northern Israel. We currently have Ukraine under an air raid alert. There's been missiles flying over Ukraine the last hour. We have the Polish Air Force on high alert. They've dispatched their F 16s. I'll monitor this situation for you guys, and I'll report on what happened in the morning. But it looks like another massive missile strike on Ukraine. And we'll have to wait and see if any of these missiles crossed into Poland and if the Polish Air Force didn't have to shoot down any Russian missiles. Here we have an official tweet from the Polish Air Force stating that Polish F 16s are airborne in southeastern Poland and that the general public does not have to worry, but they might hear the jets flying over. And I want to just show you guys what's going on over Europe right now. So here we have this U.S. aerial refueler operating in southeastern Poland, and it's providing refueling services to those Polish F-16s so they can stay airborne. And they're probably refueling some reconnaissance assets over here as well that NATO uses to track the paths of these missiles. We had this sub-Hunter plane off the coast of Kaliningrad all evening. Look at this, guys. This is absolutely insane. Look at how many loops this P-8 Poseidon did off the coast of Kaliningrad. It looks like probably 100 loops here. This is insane. I've never seen anything like this before in this area by a U.S. sub-Hunter. We do know that the Russian Navy has put their Baltic fleet on combat alert, and they're doing combat drills over here in the Baltic Sea, literally right next to Poland. And we also know that Belarus has put their military on combat alert, and they've moved tanks and armored vehicles to within just a few miles of the Lithuanian border, literally just 20 miles from the capital of Lithuania, Vilnius. The Belarusian forces could make a march on the capital of Lithuania and reach the capital within an hour. And Germany yesterday announced that they're going to be sending a robust brigade of 4,000 troops and equipment to Lithuania. Okay, so Germany doing an emergency deployment here to reinforce Lithuania because NATO doesn't have hardly any forces here, and Belarus has thousands, and they're backed by Russian forces, which apparently there's tens of thousands of them in Belarus. Now, Belarus has also set up S-400 air defenses here in northwestern Belarus near Grodno, which is right next to Poland and Lithuania and in the Suwalki Gap. So this is a very serious situation here. And last night there were 2 German planes that had the call sign Bomber, and they flew to the Belarus border in eastern Poland, right at the tri-border of Ukraine, Belarus, and Poland. These planes had the call sign Bomber 33 and Bomber 34, so I don't know if these were B-1s or what they were, but they flew straight to the city of Brześć in Belarus, where apparently there's like 30,000 Russian troops here and all kinds of artillery systems and S-400s and probably Iskanders. And Warsaw is not even just 100 miles from Brześć. Okay, so Belarus and Russia could strike Warsaw with short-range missiles from this area here. And NATO sent these 2 bombers to Belarus last night. Okay, this is a training exercise. If they were to have to go into Belarus and bomb all the targets here in Brześć, which is a city right next to Poland in Belarus, and that's where there's a Russian base and a bunch of equipment, these bombers would annihilate all that equipment. And we had crazy reconnaissance over the Baltics and Poland last night. We had this German reconnaissance plane that flew along the border of Russia and Belarus in the Baltics. Look at this, guys. This is absolutely insane. Basically flew all around the Baltics. Okay, I've never seen that before. And apparently, Belarus launched a hybrid attack against Poland. Here we have some video footage released by the Polish border guard showing hundreds of migrants that were sent to the Polish border here in this swamp where Poland doesn't have a border wall because they can't build a border wall on a swamp. So they just have several layers of concertina wire. And so these migrants thought they could force their way through, and they brought these ladders to try to climb over. But the Polish military was there to greet them, and they were able to push the migrants away. But this is not a good sign, guys. And the Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk announced that Poland will not follow the EU's new migrant relocation scheme, which would basically mean that Poland would have to take in a certain number of migrants. So Poland is refusing to do that. And Finland is going to be opening a NATO ground force headquarters just 140 kilometers from the Russian border. The facility will be located in the city of Mykolaiv. According to the Ilta Leti newspaper, in peacetime, the headquarters will be responsible for planning and conducting alliance training activities in the region. And between 4:15 a.m. and 6 a.m. Yemen time on April 10th, U.S. Central Command forces successfully engaged 3 drones that were launched from Yemen by the Houthis. And then later on in the morning, U.S. CENTCOM forces successfully engaged and destroyed 8 drones that were launched from Yemen by the Houthis. So a total of 11 drones launched by the Houthis today, all shot down by U.S. Central Command forces. But this is not a good sign. They're continuing to attack the Red Sea with drones, and want to just show you guys what we have going on over Asia tonight. We have a sub-hunter plane just south of Taiwan. We have a recon plane, an RC-135, just south of Taiwan, and we also have an aerial refueler. So we have a lot of very important assets here operating in the southern part of the Taiwan Strait, keeping an eye on this world flashpoint. So I'm going to continue to monitor all these areas of the world, and I will go live when this all kicks off. I think it's just a matter of when and not if. Okay, this is definitely going to happen. Over 60 emergency action messages today. That is insane. I have not heard that many in a single day since the Prigozhin rebellion. So something is imminent, guys. I think it's going to happen tomorrow, possibly. So you're probably going to see me live tomorrow at some point. But until next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.